on in, y'all. Continue being, y'all. Fuck you thought. Come on in, y'all. Yep. Yeah. My name is JJ7000. The most feared debater. This goddamn planet. Fuck you thought. Hey. Y'all see the title. Chris MVP, most valuable pseudo Harris. Destroyed by JJ7000. Yeah. Fuck you thought. Huh? Don't run your mouth. Now you finna get it. Shout out to the Lions Den. Shout out to Sister Karima, Black Beauty Inc., Black Jesus Minister, Elder Yara, Apostles of Quan, yeah. Solar Vision Bay League, FOP, University Bay League. Fuck you thought. Huh? We the real Lions. Lions is in the building. You ain't know? Fuck you thought. Huh? Yeah. We want all the smoke. Yeah. Hey. Hey. Come on in. Come on in, y'all. Early morning ass whooping. About to go down. Mm-hmm. Fuck you thought. Thought you was gonna run your mouth and we wasn't gonna get a dress? Fuck you thought. You. Yeah, buddy. Welcome to the den, man. Welcome to the den. Yeah, man. It amazes me. I sit back and watch some of these dudes, you know, around the community, run their mouth. They want to call people out. For example, Chris, I hate my hairline hairs. Yesterday tries to go over there and steal Jabari's shine. That's Jabari's show, bro. Why you on there? Jabari don't need your help calling out Chief X. But Chris Glory Hound Harris has to come up and show up. Then he goes to make a show this morning. Oh, yeah, guys, Chief X running from me and all this. Like, what? Ain't that the pot calling the kettle black? Because just 3 weeks ago, after you tried to dog Corey out on your platform, JJ Voorhees come up on the set. Kill. Murder. Kill. You know what I'm saying? Like Candyman, so goddamn body. Come up on your set, called you out. And you agreed. And so I called, this was me and Sonetta was all right. So I called Sonetta. He was in the store getting his Viagra or whatever, so Napai answered the phone, right? The extra strength version. But anyway, and you know, she on the line, so I said, yeah, man, I will set this debate up with Chris Harris. You know, he said he won't set it up, you know. So she on the line, I call him, Chris Harris. He called me every bitch in the book. No, I'm not debating you, JJ, and blah, blah, made up every excuse. Now you on here talking shit about Chief X, and you did the same thing. Because this is what you do. You're going to pick your spots. But when the people's champ call you out, the most feared debater on this goddamn planet, you running high. Like you had in hairline. See, JJ ain't scared to take off his hat. I heard you got a cone head. You know, your head go like this. But anyway, enough with the hair. Enough with the hair. My whole point is, Chris, you've been running from this topic for a long time. You've been running, bro, for a long time. Mm-hmm. What Chris Harris wants to say is that there's no Israelites in Africa, and they were converted by Europeans in 1492. So JJ is here to give them an educational ass whooping, just to set the record straight, like FOP would say. So let's get to the meat and potatoes, y'all. Hold on, let's share my screen. I know it's early, but JJ like to do early ass whooping. Before we get into it, man, let's get into the lines in the building, man. Few more people get up in here, man. You know, hopefully y'all can see this. Hold on, let me see if y'all can see this. Then the educational ass whooping gonna begin. Let me see. What's up, Strosis? Hey, peace and blessings, man. I'm gonna give him an educational ass whooping, like I always do. Uh, uh, Chris, I got my track shoes on, Harris. You know, he's sitting over there trying to call Chief X. Hey, storytelling the garden, peace and blessings, Queen. He's sitting up there trying to call out goddamn Chief X. Talking about, yeah, he ran on the phone. He did the same thing. I've been calling you out. You trying to steal Jabari shine. I don't even agree with Jabari. Well, let's get to it real quick. Let's get to it. Let's get to it.
I want you and that young man to tie that knot. I'm gonna pray for you, and I want you to hold on to God's unchanging hand, cause He helped Job.
Well, I tell you, Kareem, where you at? Shit. What the hell's going on? Gotta tell you, man. Hold up. What's it? All right, we got to skip that then. Enough man had technical difficulties already. No. Hold on. Okay, hold on, man. We gonna have to skip that. Let's get to the meat and potatoes here, man. God damn, man. Shit. Excuse my language. All right, so let's get to the library, man. Hold on. Let's see. Uh, let's start with some education, man. Where is JJ putting it? Let me see. What's this? That's this. Let's start with a little history. What's going on? Hold up. Man, I hope my sound play. But now I'm going to take this on the lines there. On the first line there channel. Hold up. Let me see what this is. This might be the one I need y'all to see. Man, y'all hit that like, share, and subscribe. Man, what's this? Let me see. It goes. Let's see if it plays. Man, what the hell is going on with the sound? Oh, man. I might have to call Cream and take it on the. Here we go.
Looking very pathetic Harris, least valuable player Harris, whatever you want to call him, calls in and say he wants to take. He gonna be a Huckleberry, whatever the hell.
Oh, I got my head.
How was up like a thought? Kwame Yashala. Man, this funny right here, man. Look, y'all see what the title is? Chris LVP looking very pathetic. Harris runs again from JJ7000, the People's Champ. Now I said, all right, hold up. No, God dang it. All right, y'all. God damn, I've been talking to myself for the last. All right, I don't even think with those stop bumping your gun if it's the same. Oh, storytelling the guard. That's funny. Oh, God. I got okay, yeah. All right, that's funny. Hold on, I gotta post this. That is too funny. God damn. Could y'all hear me in the beginning? Let me see, man. Oh man. Okay, wait a minute. Now for the bump my gums again. Storytelling. All okay. All right. So let's start it back over. All right. So as y'all can see, the title is Chris MVP Most Valuable Pseudo Harris gets destroyed by JJ7000. This has been a current event. This has been going on for a while. You know what I'm saying? But he has the nerve to come on Sarnetta TV yesterday and try to steal Jabari's shine. Now, I don't really too much care for Jabari Sassy. I don't. But he don't need Joe help debating no goddamn Chief X. Chief X is pseudo. I mean, but here come Chris Glory Hound Harris trying to steal some shine from Jabari. So they tell me, yeah, stop bumping your cup. That's too funny. That's too funny. Oh man. Okay, let me get this off here. I'm gonna keep laughing. Okay. But anyway, so he coming over there, disrupting. Oh yeah, I called Chief X out. He's scared of me and blah blah blah. Chris Harris, you did the same thing. I came over there when y'all trying to dog Corey out, right? Y'all trying to dog him out. I come show up, like the Candy Man, something like that. But hey, what the hell going on, And then, now, I said, well, Chris, why don't you debate me? You've been running around talking about there's no Israelites in Africa since He said that Israelites wasn't in Africa before 1492. I must have looked like, what the hell is this dude talking about? So I'm like, bro, I'll debate you on that. And he said, yeah. So this woman in Sonetta was still on business type working terms. So, I called Sonetta, right? Hey man, he wasn't there. Yeah, Marquise. So he was in the store getting his extra strength Viagra, whatever Geritol pill, whatever the hell he was getting. You know what I'm saying? So Nepal answered the phone. I'm like, yeah, Nepal, I'm gonna set this debate up with Chris Harris. He said he'd debate me. So I was like, hold on, I'm finna call him. So I call him. He didn't know Nepal was on the phone. So that's my witness right there. Her and son. He gets on the phone. Man, F you, JJ, you're a bitch. You said my platform was an echo chamber and it was biased. I'm not debating you. I'm Chris fucking Harris. I'm like, what? I'm Chris Harris. I said, oh, be Chris Harris, but get in the ring. You ran your goddamn pork chop eating lips. Get in the goddamn ring. I'm Chris MVP Harris. Like, this dude got a problem, y'all. It is, but you won't get in the ring. So I know you're not, he won't debate me. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, what I'll do, you said what I'll do. I'm just gonna keep whooping your ass every minute once a week and proving you wrong. That's what I'm about to do. That's what I'm about to do. I'm Chris MVP Harris. I hate my hairline. This is black intelligentsia. Yeah. Well, shut up. But anyway, let's get to the meat and potatoes, man. Because I ain't got that much time today to be playing around with these goofs. So what we do, now y'all can hear me, right? So let me know. Okay, so we're gonna get to, some of the information that I've been wanting to, put out here. Let me see which one. I want to go. Let's see, is this one here? Hold up. So we gotta give you a little history. Hold on, let me see which one. Let me see. Now, this one right here. Let me see. I don't think this is it. Hold up. Hold up. Yes, okay. We're gonna play this 1 minute advertisement real quick. Yeah, you remember that? The milk carton? Yeah. Yeah, the milkman. The milkman been creeping around. Oh, you've been following me for a while, huh? Storytelling Gardens. Okay. All right. Okay, well, yeah. Let's play this 1 minute advertisement real quick. Yes, y'all. Welcome to the Lions Den.
I know y'all ain't ready for 7,000 to go. 7,000. It's the real Lions Den. Forget about 7K TV. You're looking for a good time. You got every lesson that's in your mind. All you gotta do is subscribe. It's about to go down, JJ going live. 7,000, 7,000, 7,000, 7,000. They winning.
Teammate love, it's going down, no wasting time. Leave your comments, let us know. If you both come join the show, really do this.
Like, share, and subscribe to the Real Lions Den on YouTube. Make sure you check out JJ7000 TV. He gonna go 7,000 every time.
All right, yeah, hit that like, share, subscribe. Hit that like, share, subscribe. All right, let's get back to the program. All right, let's get back to it. Let's get back to it. Let's get back. All right, let's get back to it. Oh, that's Forever Food. I've been looking for you. Okay. I was looking for you when we were doing that old Wall Street debate. I didn't know that was you. All right. We finna get back to it. All right. Change your name on me. Now I know what I'm dealing with. Okay, Queen. I'm glad to see you back. I was worried about you. All right. All right, so we finna get back to this, man. Get Chris an educational ass whooping. I'm trying to find the video where I schooled him before I get to these other videos. Okay, hold up. All right, I got a whole lineup over here, y'all. He in some trouble. Oh, wait. Let me see. It's got to be one of these. So let's try this one. Hold up. Let's try this one. Nope, that ain't it. Nope. Let's try this one. Nope, that ain't it. It's got to be this one then. It's got to be this one. Hold up. It's got to be this one. Man. It's got to be this one. You just do storytelling now. Okay. Oh, man. Hold up, y'all. Let me see if it'll show. Oh, man. Okay. Yeah, because this right here was ridiculous. All right. Let me see. Yep, there it is. Okay. Yep. Let me fix my lips now. God damn. Got me smile. Okay, there we go. Oh. All right. Facebook thing in a minute, man. So 7,000. Just want to go through a few things, man. You know, see, as a debater, as a researcher, 7,000 has taught you over the years, right? Over the years that you write your stuff down, right? You write your stuff down because you can never depend on technology. See, you can never depend on technology. So
me as a researcher, or debater, I've always written my stuff down. And today we're gonna go over some of the notes that 7000 has written down. You know, and teach you some of the stuff that he's been studying. You know, welcome to the Lions Den. You know, let's see. Who is that? Come on in, up in the den. This is Talk Time with JJ7000. I didn't even title this. I just went live. You know, it's a lot of things going on in the community. We got the iSpeed. Well, hold on. I want to get off right now. About shit in your house. You know, rocket. The bomb, we rise. You see what I'm saying? I had to come back to my roots, and that's Facebook. You know, I had built a strong relationship with the people on Facebook over 7, 8, 9 years, probably 8 years. What's up, Plus Beast? How you feel, man? How you feel, man? Who else we got up in here? We got Eric, man, scientist. You know, we got a few good people up in here, man. Okay. But what else we got up in here? You know,
okay, y'all can hear.
I sit back and I observe things on Facebook. Let me sit down, man. I'm a little older now, man. Back in the younger days, I could stand up in front of the TV in front of y'all, man. You know, the construction done caught up with 7,000. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna sit down. But we got people like Chris Harris, you know, running around here talking about Portuguese, then converted all the Israelites in Africa to Judaism. So I'm just gonna go through a few things because, see, Chris, that's what you fail to realize is that Judaism, or people who practice the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, have been in Africa. I mean, way before the Spanish Inquisition. Converted all the Israelites to Israelites in Africa. Like, this brother cannot be possibly studying, cannot be possibly researching. So, you know, I don't want to let no good notes go to waste, everybody. You know, all the young viewing audience out there, this is what I want y'all to do. Write your stuff down. It comes with sources and references. You can write that down. Because depending on technology, that's lazy. Copy, paste. I get more out of it when I write my stuff down. Just like in school. At the Lions Den Academy of Education and Information, I've always taught, write your stuff down. What's up, TJ Jacob? Who else up in here? All right, Plus Beast in the building. You know, 7,000. Ain't been on Facebook in a minute, man. I usually be on YouTube. You want to come on in, Timmy? TJ Jacob to a debate. For me, even for me and you didn't even get in a debate about this situation, bro. I'll read a few things, man. Okay. I got some of your notes. Let me see. Where should we start? All right. Let's start right here. All right. Okay. Man, let's see. Okay. I see these are some of the tribes over in Africa, Christians, claiming to be, that profess to be, that say they are Israelites. All right. Okay. We got the Mindu people, Beta Israel, Falasha, that's in Ethiopia, right? We have the Abba Yudaya people or tribe. That's in Uganda, Chris Harris. We have even the Tutsi people of Rwanda, the Rusak people of Zimbabwe. Everybody know about the Limber, Chris Harris. You mean to tell me Portuguese turned? Come on, man. We even have the Ashanti, Samati in Ghana. We have the Benai Ephraim, the sons of Ephraim, claiming to be Israelites, right? We have the Lam, Timbuktu, bro. And Chris Harris, you running around here lying, talking about that the Portuguese in 1492 went to Africa and told these people, the Mandubi people, the Abanayu people, the people of the Benai Ephraim, which means sons of Ephraim, and some of the Yoruba who claim ties to this Israelite heritage. Are you telling me that they didn't know nothing about this before 1492? Is that what we doing, Chris Harris? How dare you get in front of me and say JJ7000? Pick any topic to debate you on. So I picked the topic that you run in your mouth on when you went in front of the TV, when you went in front of these platforms, and you said that no one in Africa knew anything about Israelites until the Portuguese. Until the Portuguese. And we'll talk about that later. But anyway, the Portuguese. And then, son, you want to keep putting this dude in front of me, man. This dude is a runner. He's not a real debater. He's not a real debater. His track record speaks for itself. When I say track record, I'm talking about his goddamn feet running. Garfield's another one. You sign up for a debate, then you don't show up on Sunday on TV. You's a runner. And they scared of 7,000 when I come on the goddamn platform because I got the information. They want to say, oh, 7,000, you undisciplined. You don't know when it's your turn to speak, but if you go back and look at everything, I'm gonna go live on YouTube. I just want to give you a little bit of information what you need to know before you step to me. Because this is common knowledge, bro. The Casina people of Nigeria. Are you saying the Portuguese tie all these people? The Nephrim Ibrahim of Malagasy Republic. These Portuguese must have been all over goddamn Africa. They must have went all over Africa, Chris Harris. Are you serious? Let me stop you up. The Hivela and the Tutsi. Let's go to some of the professors, man. The Hivela and Tutsi Hebrews by Professor Yakinim, I can't pronounce his last name, I think it's Ruggieri. As a Hebrew organization, Hiveli developed a specific program where he focused on efforts on the Hebraic remnant of pre-Talmudic tribes. This is pre-Talmudic tribes of Israel, isolated on the other side of the rivers of Ethiopia. Chris Harris. And Chris Harris said that the Portuguese taught everybody in Africa Portuguese about Hebrewism. Answer that. Let me just read you this. Because like I said, as Hebrew as an organization, a specific program, we focus on the remnants of the Hebraic, we focus on the efforts of the Hebraic remnant of pre-Talmudic tribes of Israel. See, they want to run around and teach that these people of Israelites were taught in Africa by people who follow the Talmud. Okay, this is what they lying about. Chris Harris, Garfield, all them cats, man. All right. But yeah, so we focus on the efforts of the Hebraic remnant of pre-Talmudic tribes of Israel, isolated on the other side of the rivers of Ethiopia, according to the Zephaniah prophecy. Zephaniah 3 and 10, the historical and geographical Orion prophecy. It has been identified by prestigious, learned Jews and Talmudic authors like Rashi Shemola ben Yisrael Yitzhak as the White Nile Basin. I think I got my note. Oh yeah, this is right. As the White Nile Basin. The biblical name of land is Havilah, according to Genesis. Was that 2 and 11? The name of the first is Pison, that is which compassed the whole land of Havilah. Okay, yeah. Where there's gold. One of the Hebraic tribes isolated. Here we go, Chris Harris. One of the Hebraic tribes that is isolated in the sacred land of Havilah, see, is called Tutsi. Tutsi, Chris Harris, right? Or the Batusi. They're exterminated because of their Hebraic identity. Chris Harris, you don't want to get in the ring with me with this, bro. Saying that goddamn Portuguese went over to Africa, and this is why we find Hebrew Israelites today. You don't want to do that. It'll be really, it's already the end of your debate career right now, but I'm just going to be stomping on a dead horse doing this to you. All right? Okay. So it says, during the last 40 years, the Batusi has been exterminated, and still now they're being exterminated because of their Hebraic identity and their Solomonic legacy. According to their Solomonic memory, they say to be descendants of 2 Israelite tribes, the Tutsi. 2. Judah and Dan, the kingdom of Zagwe. Chris Harris, you will get destroyed trying to challenge me on this, bro. I'm just giving you a little bit of meat, a little appetizer right now. What I got. Don't embarrass yourself like you did with Pastor Ben. Don't do it. Debate embarrassment. I'm talking about people all over the world is talking about it. Because something on the TV, people watch that, bro. All over the world. And you embarrass that channel. It's bad enough, so I never do that alone. He don't need your help. All right. So, some clans among the Batusi are really contemporary with the Moses people, which moved from Egypt. According to the exact knowledge, they display about the Moses law Others joined their brother after different misfortunes, which affected the Israelite people. You know, this happened in Jerusalem, the destruction. Everybody know about that. The Batusi Halakama has kept records. It's over, Chris. Look, I can smile. Come on, whoop your ass if you ever decide to get in the ring with me. This is just one source. Any of you that's trying to tell us Israelites being in Africa, you're going to get spanked. Okay? So let's keep reading. Let's keep reading. Then I'm going to play a little video for you for a minute because I gotta make a phone call and then we'll come back and we can continue with story time with JJ7000. Right? This is what real do. You know, just like in school, when you was writing it down, you got a better understanding of it. Don't be like these copy and paste debaters like Chris Harris. Don't do your portfolio on the good. But then you end up, if the computer break on you or something, then you end up running out of the debate like he did. I don't even think I know they're gonna blame the computer, man. Well, I'm gonna give you one more. I'm getting ready to go live on YouTube, man. No. I'm gonna stick here. I do YouTube more. Cause I already opened up. A little more, then we gonna so that. I mean, yeah. Let me read you one more. Let me read you a little more. I got. Let me hit the camera. I got the information. I got it. These people claim to have some kind of family orientation, descendancy to Moses. They have stories of the Solomonic dynasty. This kingdom of Zagwe. Already over there before 1492, Chris Harris. You don't. And then I'm gonna end this. Because I'll be looking for anybody that can prove this wrong. Come to all these tribes lying? Huh? The Beta Israel of Ethiopia, the Phalassia. How about the Abayudaya of Uganda? The Rusap of Zimbabwe. The Limba of South Africa, all through South Africa, Israelites. Bantu speaker. All people, Ghana, Israelites, we're not saying people, all of Uganda, or all of Ethiopia, or all of Timbuktu, or all of the Malagasy Republic. We're not saying that. We said we have remnants. Our people are scattered about. And it was there before 1492, Chris Harris. The Yoruba, some people Yoruba, some people the Igbo, the Kassania in Nigeria. This is the tribe. You can go look it up. You ask me for a tribe, I can give you tribes, bro. I was gonna save it for the debate, but why not do it now? I don't do ambush scholarship. I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do before we get in the goddamn ring. Unlike you. Now, let's get back to it, man. I'm gonna read you a little bit more, man. I gotta get up here. I got a show to do, man. I know I'm kind of double-minded with this, saying I'm gonna leave, I'm gonna stay, So I got certain obligations. This just came out of the spirit. The spirit told me to come on and just show this dude, man, so he won't further embarrass himself. Now you gonna have to debunk the kingdom of Zagwe. Some clans among the Batusi are really contemporary with are really contemporary with the Moses people, which moved from Egypt. They ain't went nowhere. Egypt, according to the Moses, there is four like people, such as the destruction of the holy temple of Jerusalem. The Batusi Halakha has kept record and encoded references to these events, which with names and rituals, such as the annual festival of Sukkot called Umungunua. Say it, Umungunua. I'm gonna spell it for you. Umugganuro, the festival of return. The antiquity of the Bantusi monotheism has always been subject of astounding. I got witnesses here. I'm gonna give you one, then I'm gonna close this out, bro, because you ain't ready for me, man. I am the people's champ when it comes to these debates. I am the House of Conscience champion when it comes to these debates. And I am the legendary FOPE debate over there. Period. That champion they got over there, I'm up. When it comes to that, defending, I'm up here. That debater has not reached the levels of different debates that I've been in, different battles. You got to adjust to your opponent. She's not ready for that. Let's say champion, have a seat. She's not ready to get in the ring with a Black Jesus and who throws you off your square by some of the stuff he said. She's not ready to get in the ring with Tazaria or Jabari. She's not ready. You see what I'm saying? So, like I said, I'm gonna read you a little bit because I gotta get ready to go on YouTube, man. Now, the political organizations of the Batusi from Kush, 4,000 to 250 BC until the Zagwite kingdoms, 1270 to 1960, are strictly related with the Solomonic systems. Chris Harris, you will get destroyed, bro. I'm trying to tell you, man. You will get destroyed. Amongst numerous witnesses at the Batisi or Tuitsi Hebraic city, we point to the famous Middle Ages travelers Eldad Ha-Danai, the 9th century, which is in the 9th century. This one has confirmed the authenticity.
JJ.
And the realness of this Moed, I can't pronounce it there, y'all. Settle around the river of Paisan, which is the White Nile. See, when the Exodus happened, we went around the Niles. We went down. See, you got to follow the trail, follow the information. And they settled around the White Nile in the biblical land of Havalia. The geographical, man, you know what? This is too much. The geographical location of the land of Havalia and the lower Nile. You're not ready for African history at the University of Bayas in the history of Africa, and explains his recent focus on the relations with in Bayreuth. He studied Arab Islamic history as well as anthropology in Paris and worked with Arabic texts. You know, he has an extensive research, but what I'm saying is this guy,
has brought a lot of information about our people over in Africa and these different tribes, bro. Even the Yoruba people themselves speak of their origins outside of Africa, in the Near East, the Shemitic regions. Chris Harris, I will bury you, bro. You know what? That's too much. That's short study with JJ7000, man. Chris Harris, you don't want to smoke. Hey, in the next hour, we will be on the next, I think next, if I can catch up with Kareem, I'm getting ready to go live on YouTube. Subscribe to the Lion's Den on YouTube. Now it's part of the agenda to that story alone. It's part of the agenda to emasculate the black man by showing a punk ass produced by, not maybe written, but produced behind the scenes, directed by white feminists. And we got people like Natasha Dog going around talking about go support this movie. Why would we glorify a tribe of people who enslaved over 1 million Africans and Israelites? Well, you want to call yourself an African, meaning the people living in the land, and some of them was Israelites, the Dahomey tribe. Why ain't they telling the truth about the Dahomey tribe? Huh? So that's what I'm gonna get ready to go in on, man. And Sarnetta and for y'all to talk about y'all the House of Consciousness, y'all to feel ignorant sitting up there promoting this goddamn movie. Y'all to feel like you didn't do your studies. For you to be promoting this woman king and you take it away like you stripping our titles of masculinity and you're applying it to yourself. What's wrong with you? No, you're gonna be a queen and you're gonna be a goddess, because that's the titles that's implicated for a woman. So Sarnetta was like, yeah, I'm okay with that. So Sarnetta, now I'm gonna call her King Napa and Queen Netter. And with that, 7,000 out. Hey.
All right. All right, man. Yeah, man, that was some of the educational aspect. I've been whooping dude up for years, man. This ain't nothing new. We're gonna get back to some other stuff. Hold up, man. JJ ain't done. JJ ain't done. Let me see what let me peek around in the audience and see what y'all over here talking about. Let me see what's going on. Hold up. Yeah, man. These guys ain't ready for 7,000. I'm just gonna let you know. I'm just gonna let you know, man. They are not ready for JJ7000. This is one of the most feared debates on this goddamn planet. Shout out to Indigenous Black Man exposing frauds. You know what I'm saying? What's in pain in the building? You know. Can I have a double fragger patty? Yeah. We gonna get back on them too. The fragger patty. Yeah, I'm just cutting them a break today. You know what I'm saying? Just cut them a break. You know. But yeah, that was one of something in the archive that JJ did, man. You know, I always keep it, you know, keep it going, man. I got so many videos I've done on these guys, man. It'll take you 2 years to watch it, maybe even longer than that. Yeah, man. Shout out to Sister Cassandra, Mensah, yeah, peace and blessings, Queen. Shout out to Sister Hammurabi, Forever Food. She can change her name again to Storytelling. Yeah, I didn't even know that was you. Lemon Line Lucky in the goddamn on building. I see y'all, Key. Shout out to Elder Yara, man. And Yadin Al Murakred. Welcome. This is my first time seeing you peeking in on Facebook. Yeah, family. You know how we do what we do over here, man. Marquise, one of the Lions Den. He been with the Lions Den for a long time. Brother Marquise. Shout out to Sosa. Water Blue in the building. I am Manna. Queen, I am Manna peeking around. Hey, Queen, how you doing? Yeah, man. Okay, so So, like I said, I gave Chris a lot of information, and he's not gonna be able to debunk none of that. You sound very uneducated when you get in front of the camera and say that the Portuguese, Chris Harris, converted all these people to be Israelites. Don't make any sense with the Portuguese. Well, they were doing auto de fe. The Spanish Inquisition was auto de fe, turning Israelites into Catholics. Hold up for a minute, y'all. Hold up. Video so they can real quick. All right, I'm back. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna start with this video right here. Hold up. This is a very, very important video right here. Wait, I'm messing up. I'm messing up. Wait a minute. Wait, I gotta go to present. Hold up, y'all. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Hopefully y'all can see this. It's a 19-minute video. Let me undo the sound. There we go. Now, this is biblical Israel geographical borders in Africa. You know. I don't know if y'all can hear it. Hold on. Okay. All right, let me see if y'all can see it. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay, hold up. Yeah, King Nepal. Yeah, that's what's, she wanted to be a king one day. All right. So I want to show y'all this. This is a 19-minute video. This is more evidence and more proof of how we were in Africa. And Chris, there's no denying it, Chris Harris.
Borders of the biblical land of Israel are laid down in 3 places in the Hebrew Bible: in Exodus and Numbers. These 3 books contain a relatively detailed description of the region in Africa where the Israelite culture and civilization was centered. The references found in books are many times obscure and ambiguous and difficult to discern because of the absolute nature of the names that are used as reference. But they still have preserved a rough picture of the borders of the region known in the Bible. The first map is found in Genesis 15, in the passage where God describes to Abraham the area that forever be inherited by his sons.
I give a region to the river Euphrates, the Kenites, and the Kenizzites, and the Cadmonites, and the Hittites, and the Perizzites, and the Rephaims, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Girgashites, and the Jebusites.
The area described in this passage, East Africa, is with the river of Egypt, which, as we will soon see, stretch as far north as the edges of the first cataract in the city of Aswan. The borders then continue south towards the Euphrates River in Ethiopia. Yes, the biblical Euphrates River, which is a separate topic in itself, a topic which we will cover in a separate episode, was not located in Iraq, but actually in Ethiopia. But until then, all that we need to remember is that the biblical Euphrates River is not the river that it has been associated with for the past 2,000 years, but another river that was located in Ethiopia. The Genesis borders begin in the city of Aswan, the most southern borders of ancient Egypt, and they continue all the way down to Ethiopia. These borders are further elaborated by the next map. This map is complementary to the first map in Genesis. Unlike the Genesis map, this map begins the borders of Israel from the Nile River in Ethiopia, or the Yam Suf. This is opposite to the map in Genesis 15, which began in Egypt and stretched down towards Ethiopia. The reason for this is that at this particular instance in the Exodus saga, Egypt, and are standing at Mount Sinai. And this map reflects this historical reality. It begins the borders from where the Hebrews were standing at the time, next to Yam Suf in Ethiopia, and then stretches northwards in the opposite direction towards Egypt. From the Yam Suf in Ethiopia to the Sea of the Philistines would translate in modern language to from the southern parts of the Nile, most likely the Atbara Tekese joining point, and then upwards towards the river of the Philistines. The question then is, what is the Sea of Philistines? The Bible describes the Philistines as the descendants of Mizraim, the ancestor of the Egyptians.
And Mizraim begat Ludim, and Anamim, and Lehabim, and Naphtuhim, and Pathrozim, and Casluhim, out of whom came Philistim, and Caphtorim.
They are also described as being either the ancestors or the inhabitants of a region or a people that's known in the Bible as Caphtor.
Are ye not as children of the Ethiopians unto me, O children of Israel, saith the Lord? Have not I brought up Israel out of the land of Egypt, and the Philistines from Caphtor, and the Syrians from Ker, because of the day that cometh to spoil all the Philistines, and to cut off from Tyrus and Zidon every helper that remaineth? For the Lord will spoil the Philistines, the remnant of the country of Caphtor.
The Bible doesn't explicitly state where the Caphtorites lived. Archaeology hasn't been able to establish any specific region for the biblical Caphtorites, and there are still questions about where this nation lived. The most specific archaeological identification of the biblical that contains the letters K, P, T, E, and R. This inscription has been found in the temple of Kom Ombo in the city of Aswan, the most southern parts of ancient Egypt. This is the strongest identification of the Caphtorites so far, and it places the Caphtorites in southern Egypt. The Bible also seems to confirm the southern position of the biblical Philistines and Caphtorites, who are described as the western quarters of Egypt. Even though the Philistines are described as being very closely related to the Egyptians, they are also identified as a separate nation from the Egyptians, who had a separate culture outside the borders of ancient Egypt. They are described as having existed and having been powerful even in the days of Abraham, roughly 1400 or 1500 BC, and to have continued as a powerful political and military opponent of both Israel and neighboring nations, all the way until the time of King David, roughly 9th century BC. The biblical Philistines were the Kadma culture south of Egypt. We will discuss this nation in details in a following episode. The Philistines were situated southwest of Egypt, precisely in front of Edom and Moab, which previous episodes showed that they lived in the southeastern Nile coast of Sudan.
But they shall fly upon the shoulders of the Philistines toward the west. They shall spoil them of the east together. They shall lay their hand upon Edom and Moab, and the children of Ammon shall obey them.
2 Chronicles describes the Philistines as being neighbors of Cush, ancient Nubia.
Moreover, the Lord stirred up against Jehoram the spirit of the Philistines and of the Arabians that were near the Ethiopians.
2 Chronicles is sufficient to completely discredit the claim of the biblical Philistines having lived in modern-day Palestine. We will discuss this topic more in depth in a following episode. The Philistines' southwestern location explains why the book of Exodus tells us that the Hebrews were not allowed to go through the Egyptian desert straight south through the Saharan desert on the exodus out of Egypt, but instead had to cross the Nile eastwards.
That God led them not through the way of the land of the Philistines, although that was near, for God said, lest peradventure the people repent when they see war, and they return to Egypt.
Straight south along the Nile and through the Saharan desert would be crossing into the borders of the Philistines, who seem to have had their capital on the western side of the Nile at the time of the Exodus. The river that was recognized by the Hebrews as the Sea of Philistines was the second cataract of the Nile. This is confirmed in 1 Kings, which separates the river of Egypt, i.e. the first cataract of the Nile, from the river of the Philistines, the second cataract.
And Solomon reigned over all kingdoms from the river unto the land of the Philistines, and unto the border of Egypt. They brought presents, and served Solomon all the days of his life.
An interesting yet obscure confirmation can also be found in 2 Kings, which describes the Philistines as living as far north as Migdol, the fortress city.
He smote the Philistines even unto Gaza, and the borders thereof, from the tower of the watchman to the fenced city.
Migdol, as explained in the video, the real Exodus route to Ethiopia, refers to the Abu Simbel towers of the first cataract in the city of Aswan, or as they are called in this verse, the Tower of the Watchman, meaning the watchmen on the Abu Simbel towers of southern Egypt, the towers that were erected by Ramses to demonstrate to Nubia the power of Egypt, and this guard and protect the country from a potential Nubian invasion. Another interesting detail is that the word Kaftor actually means crown. Could this be a reference to the city of Aswan, which was located the furthest north of Egypt? Could the crown of Egypt, meaning the furthest north on the reverted ancient Egyptian map, be biblical Kaftor, the geographical crown on ancient Egyptian territory? The Reed Sea to the Sea of the Philistines would mean from the Nile coasts of Sudan and Ethiopia to the second cataract in Sudan, and from the Saharan desert in the north all the way to the great river, the Euphrates. The most detailed map on the land of Israel is found in the book of Numbers. Although this is the most detailed map in the Bible, it is also the most difficult map to discern because of the obsolete references that are used in this map. Unlike the two previous maps, which made a linear trace of ancient Israelite territory, the map in the book of Numbers divides the land of Israel into 4 regions. North, the map begins with the Negev borders, the desert borders north of the Holy Land. It first draws the line westward towards the Nile River, towards the land of Edom. This is the furthest west on the Negev borders. It then goes the opposite direction towards the Salt Sea in the Danakil Desert, and this is the eastern edges of the Negev borders. After demarcating the western and eastern edges of the southern borders of the Negev, the map then turns northwards towards Egypt. It first goes north towards the region known as Akrabim. Akrabim means scorpions and refers to the part of the Saharan desert that the Hebrews were migrating through during the Exodus when they were attacked by scorpions. This is somewhere in the southeastern parts of the Saharan desert.
Who led thee through that great and terrible wilderness, wherein were fiery serpents and scorpions and drought, where there was no water, who brought thee forth water out of the rock of flint.
The borders then continue northward towards the city located in Egypt and is called Atzmon. Atzmon is described as being located in the river of Egypt itself. the river that we already explained as being the first cataract. Aswan, a clear Hebrew corruption of the name Aswan, refers to the southern edges of ancient Egypt. This was the furthest north on the biblical map. After hitting this point, the borders then turn eastwards and go out at the sea, meaning the Red Sea, the borders of the land of Israel. The region inhabited by the largest tribe of Israel, the tribe of Judah, which inhabited this huge region in East Africa, and also parts of northern Ethiopia, with their capital being Jerusalem, a city located in northern Ethiopia. The map continues with the second region, the Yam region.
And as for the western border, ye shall even have the great sea for a border. This shall be your west border.
The sea here refers to the Nile River, which represented the most western parts of the land of Israel. Further west of the Nile was considered foreign territory and was Nebo, Moab, Edom, and other regions. This explains how Moses could stand in Nebo and view the land of Canaan without entering it. Nebo, modern-day Nuba Mountains, are located further west of the Nile River. So Moses could stand here without violating the ban on entering Canaan, which started with the Nile River and stretched eastward towards the Red Sea. And further south of the Nile River was counted by the Hebrews as not being the Yam Suf, but another river, which is also mentioned in the Bible, and which we will cover in a future episode. The map continues with the third part, the southern part of the land of Israel. The word Zephon has an obscure meaning and has been interpreted to mean dark or unknown. In the Bible, this word is used to indicate a southern position on the biblical map. And in this verse, it describes the southern parts of the land of Israel. The Zephon borders begin with the Euphrates River in central Ethiopia and continue towards Mount Hor, which was located on the borders of Edom, meaning westward towards the Nile.
And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in Mount Or, by the coast of the land of Edom.
The borders then continue further towards obscure and obsolete references, which seem to have been located somewhere in the southern quarters of west central Ethiopia. This marked the southern parts of the Holy Land. And the final part of the map, the eastern borders. Qadim, meaning forward or frontal. Although this word implies a northern position, the text clearly describes the eastern borders of the land. This agrees with the traditional interpretation of the word Qadam in the following verses to mean east. The borders continue east, cities, before going out at sea, that is referred to in the text as the Khineret. Describe
And in the valley Bethar and Succoth and Zaphon, the rest of the king of Heshbon, Jordan and his border, even unto the edge of the sea of Chinnereth, on the other side Jordan eastward.
The word Khineret means harp. This harp resembles the shape of the African horn, which has the same bend as an Egyptian harp. Sea of Khineret is the Red Sea in the Horn of Africa. The borders go from central Ethiopia towards the Red Sea, going through modern-day Djibouti. This is what the text is trying to explain when it says that the borders touch the shoulders of the Red Sea. The authors use the imagery of the human body, where the shoulders are located roughly 3/4 northwest or northeast on the human body. On the inverted biblical map, the southeastern parts of the Red Sea would represent the northeastern part, and compared to the human body, this would represent the shoulders. A brilliant description of where the southeastern borders of the biblical land ended. After going a straight line towards the Red Sea, the borders then go straight up towards the opposite side of the Tekesse River. The borders then end at the Salt Sea, meaning the Danakil Desert. This was the Qadim, or the eastern borders of the land of Israel. These four regions represent the borders of the biblical land of Israel, beginning with the first cataract in Egypt and stretching all the way down to central Ethiopia, and then from the Nile westward and going out at the Red Sea. This is the region that is known in the Bible as the land of Israel, the home of the Israelite culture of ancient East Africa. The Bible tells us that the entire region was once by one Israelite king, King Solomon, during the golden age of ancient Israel, and that Solomon ruled from central Ethiopia all the way to the borders of Egypt.
And at that time Solomon held a feast, and all Israel with him, a great congregation from the entering in of Hamath unto the river of Egypt, before the Lord our God 7 days, and 7 days, even 14 days.
Archaeology has somewhat confirmed that there was a monolithic culture that occupied this area before the establishment of the Demot culture, and that this monolithic culture later became unified and known as the Demot civilization. Monroe Hayes quotes this discovery in his book, Aksum, an African Civilization of Late Antiquity. With the recent studies showing that in the late 2nd or early 1st millennium BC, the eastern part of the Tigray Plateau was included in a widespread cultural complex on both the African and Arabian Tehama coasts of the Red Sea, in contact with the lowlands of Sudan, and perhaps with the Nile Valley, while the western part was in contact with the people of the Gash Delta. These two regions of the plateau later became unified culturally and politically under the Demot monarchy, meaning the biblical Israelite monarchy.
Okay. Like I said, that's a lot of good information. Chris Harris can't debunk. I think I'm going to show y'all one. Like I said, that's a lot of good information. So let me show y'all one more video, and I'm going to get up out of here. I just want to do this because he's been running. Time you run your mouth and you can't back it up, there's a problem. All right, let's do one more. All right, let me know if y'all can see this. Taking a minute for it to come up, but yeah, hit that like, share, and subscribe. All right, here we go.
The book of Joshua tells the story of the Israelite conquest of Ethiopia in the 11th century. Following the death of Moses, a young leader named Joshua took the role of leader of the Israelites. From the Nile coast of southeastern Sudan, he led the Hebrews across the Tekesse River, biblical Jordan River, and into Ethiopia. After conquering 1000 BC, marked the beginning of the Israelite civilization in Africa. Decades of archaeological studies in Palestine, Israel, has revealed the following about the history of Palestine in the time that the Bible associates with Joshua and the conquest of Canaan. There never was any military conquest of modern-day Palestine, Israel, at the hands of any foreign nation in the 11th century. Neither the Israelites nor any foreign nation conquered Palestine by force in this time, never subdued or drove out the local population, and the claimed destruction of the cities that were captured by Joshua never happened.
Excavations took place already at the beginning of the 20th century, and what was found? Well, according to the biblical chronology, around 1300, 1250 BC, there should be a massive destruction, because according to the...
And they smote of the sword, utterly destroying them. There was not any left to breathe, and he burnt Hazor with fire. And all the cities of those kings, and all the kings of them did Joshua take, and smote them with the edge of the sword, and he utterly destroyed them, as Moses the servant of the Lord commanded.
Guess what? No destruction. There is no destruction. So already back in the 20s, Garstang said, there's a problem here, and Kathleen Kenyon went back to dig it, and she found the same problem.
The sites that the Bible claims were conquered and subdued by Joshua were not even inhabited in the late Bronze Age.
There is a destruction from about 1540 BC, but after that, the town was for the most part abandoned.
There was some collapse of the cultures in this region, but that collapse was gradual and was not because of the Israelites, but because the entire region east of the Mediterranean collapsed during this period, causing a cultural change in the regions around Palestine as well.
We find that there is a fairly low settlement intensity in the earlier periods. In the Middle Bronze Age, it goes way up, and then it drops way down in the Late Bronze Age. There's almost nothing. And then in the Early Iron Age, the period that we're talking about mostly, it goes way up, once again, back to the levels of the Middle Bronze Age. So there's this tremendous spurt of settlement circa 1200, 1150 BCE. And one of the things that we scholars have tried to answer is, what is the explanation for this spurt of settlement? This wave of new settlement in the hill country actually represents nomads who always had lived there. And once it was critical for them to establish sedentary settlements because of the collapse of empires all around, then they started building buildings, adopting an old kind of pot, the collared rim jar that they copied from Middle Bronze Age ruins, and they started making pits and terraces, and these are sedentarizing nomads.
The city of David, the most excavated piece of land on earth, did not look like the Bible describes it. There was never any big metropolitan city inhabited by a large group of people. There was actually no material reason to even inhabit the so-called city of David, measured even by the standards of that time.
Because now we can point to the Temple Mount. So it was not a big city, it was not a fabulous golden age, but there was something there.
It looks like this: rolling hills, a chaparral vegetation. It's very dense, very hard to clear. This is a frontier. In antiquity, this is not a great place to live. You come here when you're desperate and you have nowhere else to go.
It is a God-forsaken place. Mind you, located on the southern fringe, a few hundred meters away from range. Supply of water is not that great. Possibilities of agriculture are not that great. There is no oil around, and not even today, and no big port or something like that. No important highway crossing the Levant and passing in Jerusalem. So why is it there? What's going on?
The city is known to have experienced a sudden increase in population, sometimes during its history. But that population boom was not because of some sudden military conquest, but most likely because of immigrants fleeing the Assyrians to the east.
All of a sudden, Jerusalem grows in a quite amazing way, from about 9 hectares to 60 hectares and more, very densely inhabited. So the population grows from, what can I say, maybe 2,000 to 1,200 or something like that in a very short period of time. And this is the biggest town, the biggest city at that time in the Levant. So one needs to explain what's going on here. How did it happen exactly? Who are these people? Where did they come from? And why Jerusalem became so important? There's good reason to suggest that there was a movement of people from the territory of the northern kingdom, which had been taken over by the Assyrians in 720, 722, 720 BC. So people moved to Judah. Why? We don't exactly understand whether there was some sort of a connection.
The population of Israel-Palestine is known to have remained Canaanite the entire time, and there is no significant difference between one Canaanite group and another. This is not how the region Israelites, which would have been distinctly different from the indigenous people and would have brought a foreign culture. There wasn't even any writing system in Palestine, Israel, until the 1st or 2nd century AD, in the Hasmonean period.
And we have almost nothing until the middle of the 4th century, when all of a sudden we have here and there a coin, and then the scribal activity picks up speed again only in the 2nd century under the Hasmoneans.
The total absence of archaeological evidence for the Bible's claim Israelite conquest, subversion, and total takeover of Canaan, and the overwhelming support for the opposite opinion has led scholars to identifying the conquest narrative in the book of Joshua as pure mythology. Joshua began his military conquest from the plains of modern-day southeastern Sudan, known back then as the eastern coasts of Moab. This is roughly half a century after the death of Ramses, so somewhere in the mid-12th century BC. The Bible doesn't only provide us with a relatively detailed historical record of when the conquest of Canaan took place. It has a very graphical blueprint over the conquered by the Israelites, an exact route that they hit from the plain of Egypt into the land of Ethiopia, known back then as Canaan. Joshua's military strategy was simple. He would take the Hebrews across the Tekes River, biblical Jordan River, and into parts of Ethiopia. After crossing the river, to enter and settle in the highland north. The starting point of the conquest was in a city called Shittim.
And Joshua rose early in the morning, and they removed from Shittim and came to Jordan, he and all the children of Israel, and lodged there before they passed over.
Shittim is the name of a particular tree, identified by scholars as the acacia tree, which grows abundantly in Africa, and particularly in southeastern Sudan. The Hebrews named the area where this tree grew after the tree and called it also Shittim, which is described in the book of Joshua as never going dry, but always running over with water in all 4 seasons.
Harvest.
This is true of the Tekes River, which is a year-round river that never dries up and provides the people of Ethiopia with fresh water all 4 seasons.
በቃ ሕጂስ በቃ ተኸደስ ብጣዕሚ ይጠቕመና በዚ መለና ተደሪኡ እሱ ይዝኽእለና.
An interesting detail in chapter 3 in the book of Joshua is that just as the Hebrews were about to cross the Jordan River, the water source that distributed water from the north was cut off so that the Hebrews could cross the river on dry ground. The Bible describes the cut-off source as coming from the city of the plains, or the salt sea.
And as they that bear the ark were come unto Jordan, and the feet of the priests that bear the ark were dipped in the brim of the water, for Jordan overfloweth all his banks all the time of harvest, that the waters which came down from above stood and rose up upon an heap very far from the city Adam, that is beside Zaratan, and those that came down toward the sea of the plain, even the salt sea, failed and were cut off, and the people passed over right against Jericho.
As explained in a previous episode, the biblical Salt Sea, or Sea of the Plains, was the salty Danakil Desert of Ethiopia, which were once the home of Sodom and Gomorrah, two ancient cities located in the Danakil Desert. This is an indication that the Hebrews crossed the Tekesse at the city of Shuak, at the Tekesse Adbara joining point. The waters that originated from the east and which crossed the borders of the Salt Sea in the Danakil Desert were cut off so that the Hebrews could pass on dry grounds. After crossing the Tekesse, they continued to the central parts of Ethiopia and settled throughout the entire country. They later moved further north to the eastern borders of Sudan, reaching as far north as even the second or third cataract of the Nile. The Israelite conquest of Ethiopia in the 11th century BC marked the beginning of the Israelite civilization in Africa. On our next episode, we will discover the material and archaeological evidence of this civilization.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, there's so much information out there, man, that anybody that's making the claims that Portuguese converted all these people to be Israelites is a damn fool. You see what I'm saying? This is a damn fool. Let me see. I think I got one more short video, and that's all I'm gonna give him because I gave him plenty. All he got to do is refute it. You see? Let's check this out right here. Hold up. All right. Let's do this. It's for educational purposes. That's all. Here we go. Here's one right here. In Israel, the Hebrew kings of Africa. Yeah, that's a good one. Let me know when y'all can see this. Let me know when y'all can see this. Let me skip this. All right.
Israel series part 7, we went over what happened to the Yahudim who migrated to Spain. We got into the Spanish Inquisition and how it was used to further spread the acceptance of Roman Catholicism.
Y'all see that? Those were auto-de-phased when they were burning us to the stake. Hold up. Wait a minute. Okay, yeah, I'm off from mute. Okay, hold up. Let's keep it moving. Here we go. Look at this.
In the last part of this Understanding Israel series part 7, we went over what happened to the Yahudim who migrated to Spain and Portugal. We got into the Spanish Inquisition and how it was used to further spread the...
Right there. What you see right there, that really happened. It's called auto-de-phase. You didn't convert to Catholicism and you wanted to practice law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. This is what happened to you. Right here.
Acceptance of Roman Catholicism while removing the influence of the true Yahudim from Europe. Now, at the end of that lesson, we saw how the Yahudim from Portugal were carried off to the island of São Tomé in Africa. And as a proper conclusion, it may be expected that the next lesson will be about the transatlantic slave trade. This actually is where I thought the lesson was going as well. But as I began to connect dots putting the lesson together, I realized that there wasn't enough dots connected yet in order to get to that point in the lesson. So I needed to take a few steps back and revisit some information. In part 6, I went over the scattering of the Yahudim. But in that information, I did not give enough detail about the Yahudim on the continent of Africa. Part 6 dealt more with the scattering that happened in Europe, which is how we saw the Yahudim get to Spain and Portugal. But the evidence and connection of the Yahudim in Western Africa was glossed over and not explained in detail. So before I get to the transatlantic slave trade that fulfilled prophecy of the curses of sending Yasharel back to Egypt in ships, along with the prophecy of scattering them further into the nations, I want to discuss the history of the Yahudim in Africa. Now please remember and note for those who may be confused. As the teachings grow, I have been led to break away from the terminology used by the system. And in order to stay away from the AI bots who look out for certain words, as well as staying more aligned with the truth instead of the assimilation, in certain cases, I use the Hebrew term instead of the English word. So when I say Yahudim, it is what you may refer to as Jews. This is what I'm referring to when I say Yahudim. When I say Yasharel, it is what you know as Israel. Just to make sure there is no confusion, I wanted to be clear. As we dig into this information, it will be very plain to see why knowledge is in fact power, and why it is that they have used our education system as more of a system of oppression more than of a liberation. Everyone alive today, no matter where you are in this world, if you were educated through this education system, you have been influenced to look at the world and the people in it in a specific way, through a specific lens. Our thoughts are not always based on facts or truth, but by indoctrination. And I sincerely say that this is a big weapon against the indoctrination that we were brought to believe in. We are clearly in the last days. And if you watch my past series about what happens at the end of the Bible, you can understand the difference between mainstream Christianity's end-time beliefs versus what the Bible actually says. And for many that struggle with this topic, you may still not be convinced on the identity of the Yahudim scattered through the Americas and the Caribbean, or you might still be clouded by race and skin color. I truly believe that because knowledge is power, the more information you receive, the more true understanding can be had, and people can live confidently without a doubt about Bible prophecy and what is coming to this world, so that our hearts are made ready for Messiah and we have purged out our flesh that makes us look at the world in the eyes of skin color or race. So part 8 in this Understanding Israel series will now go over the history of the Yahudim, specifically in Africa. This will be a resource for all who desire to understand the true identity of Yasharel. Let's begin. Okay, so let's do some housekeeping. As we go through this information, I want to make sure I cite my sources so that before anyone wants to challenge the information given, they can go on and read these books for themselves. From Dr. Alan Travels in North Africa, Joseph J. Williams' book, Hebrewisms of West Africa. And we have Rudolph Windsor's book, From Babylon to Timbuktu, who I actually would really like to thank for his studies and due diligence on this subject. These 4 books provide the information that will be presented in this video. Again, the Lost Tribes, a Myth book is on my site as a PDF, because if you want to read this book for yourself, the book sells for $10,000 on Amazon. I am also placing the other books as PDFs on my site in case you cannot afford to purchase the books on your own. But if you can, it's better to buy the books and read it in your own hand. Now let me say, in reference to the book by Nahum Schlauss, Travels in North Africa, this is a special book because this man, who himself identifies as a Jew, he is a white Jewish rabbi who visited the Jews of North Africa and the Sahara in 1905. He spent 10 years of travel in North Africa to do a scholarly study of the history of the Jews of Morocco. Before I go in depth on the subject, I want to cover this because as I cite his work, I want you to understand this book. In the foreword of his book, he writes, I was struck by the great importance of the problem of the ethnic and historic origin of the various groups of the African Jews. Little attention had been paid to this problem, but I saw that the study of the question might well throw new light on the origins and history of Judaism throughout the whole Mediterranean basin. On taking into consideration the conclusions reached by general African research, I realized that the special conditions peculiar to Africa to discourage the most zealous historical adventurer. I saw that only one course was open to me, i.e., to follow the example of all historians of Africa and to undertake a series of voyages across northern Africa, visiting in person localities of historical interest and collecting historical evidence, both documentary and traditional, touching on the life and customs of the Jews of Africa. So I wanted you to know that first. The information that he provides is based on this approach, which is awesome. This is firsthand from the beginning of the 20th century. This is also another awesome book, and I do recognize that it's not easy to come by as well. So like I said, I have placed a PDF to this book on my site to download as well. The link is in the description box. Knowledge should be free. So let's get into it. Okay, so in part 7, we ended it with the Yahudim being sent from Portugal to São Tomé in Africa in the late 15th century. This was Lima, Spain, 1892. After not accept Islam, they left Yemen and passed on to East Africa. And that will be the point where we start in this part of the series. Now, you know, when we go through history or learn about history in school, we are only taught about the history that they want us to know of. Yes, some schools, some of history, it outwardly written, most really truly under the Bible, because besides it. Now, in regards to world history, Empire, England, onto American history. Yes, we know all this history. The history we are taught about are the ones in power, and the history books are made with them as the focus. If you want to learn something about anything else, you are left to do this on your own. And this is why history is so one-sided and not really understood. And this is the challenge with a topic like this when speaking of history in Africa. First of all, most people don't really care about it at all. They think it's a bunch of tribal people killing lions and tigers and bears. But that's just ignorance. The continent of Africa, so vast, so much resources, so many people residing there since the beginning of time. But the history of the people here is widely not known. Like I just said, we are made to believe that it's just a bunch of savage people in tents living around lions and tigers and elephants. But again, that's not so. There were kingdoms and there were dynasties, empires, trade, and did commerce with countries like Portugal, Spain, France, England, and the biggest corporation in history, the Dutch East India Company. I mean, we are literally only told that the Europeans took slaves from here and brought them to the Americas and the Caribbean. But there's so much more to know and understand about all that. And so this is what we will do. For instance, when we think about slavery, we like to think that this was all done at random, but this is not true. The Europeans did not just go down there, round up whatever Africans they saw, and just take them. No, they did this from an understanding. If you understand, there was slave harbors, there was slave coasts where the Africans traded other Africans for slaves. When the Europeans came to do trade with Africa, they had maps of Africa that divided the land into regions based on the people that were. It shouldn't be a surprise that the people taken in the transatlantic slave trades. But I don't want to get ahead of myself here. Let's slow down and go back in time. Between the
About a year ago, I was business to start the best way to grow my brand with AI, and you wouldn't believe what.
3rd centuries, the Yahudim of Arabia continued migrating across the Red Sea to Ethiopia. The largest exodus of the Yahudim occurred during their persecution by the Arabs led by Muhammad. We went over that information if you remember in part 4. Now be clear, This is not the same group that I spoke about in part 6 and 7 of this series. In those parts of the series, the Yahudim that we spoke about being scattered were in Europe. Let me clarify this so there is no confusion. As I explained in part 6, in Solomon Grazel's book, The History of the Jews, he documents that before Yahusha came to Israel in the year 63 BC, Pompey, the Roman general, he conquered the land of Yasharel, which they refer to as Palestine. This is what we know as the Siege of Jerusalem. When he took over the land and put it under Roman control, Yahudim or their children were freed and remained in Rome by the Yahudim in Jerusalem. The captives of war were enslaved. They were brought to Rome and then later freed, increasing the Roman population of the Yahudim. It is estimated that by the time of the First Jewish War in 66 to 71 AD, it is estimated that there were about 50,000 Jews in the city of Rome. We know this to be true if we go back to the book of Acts, chapter 2. I will not read it, but I did go over this in great detail in part 4, so understanding. Go back to that video. But listen, very clearly, but according to Acts chapter 28, some were persuaded by Paul and others disbelieved. And these are those who later continued to scatter into Europe as I explained in part 6 and 7. Of the Yahudim occurred during their persecution by the Arabs led by Muhammad, and we went over that in part 4. The group I spoke about in part 6 and 7 are not the same that I spoke about in part 4. Okay, so when North and Eastern Africa had amassed over a migration to the region of the Niger River, according to Mr. Schloutz on page 104 of his book, he says, the tradition of the Jewish traders in the Sahara stretches back to biblical times. On page 344, he writes, and it is not at all surprising to encounter in every part of the desert traces and even survivals of a primitive Judaism, which at one time played an important role in the whole region of the Sahara from Senegal to the very borders of Somaliland. You understand that when fleeing Roman persecution, they went back south into Africa. If you remember in part 4, I posed that question to you. What you have to do is you have to decide whether you believe that when the Jews fled Judea after the revolt, that they headed north into more of the Roman Empire where the Romans were the strongest, or did they flee south into Arabia and back down through Egypt towards Ethiopia, where they already had a relationship with the people there? You see, mainstream history wants us to believe that they went north through the Caucasus Mountains. But as we dig even more into history, we will see that this was not true for the majority. If not African, this part of the evidence will be the first part where people are able to understand why that claim of the Jews coming from Africa is actually correct. Mr. Slous is just confirming that information. Very clearly denying history. So let's take it from there. The first foundation of this lesson we will discuss will be the Hebrew Empire of what we know today as Ghana. The ancient Hebrew Empire of Ghana was established in the Western Sudan. According to now, please, as we're going through this, please forgive my pronunciations. There's a lot of different names. Please forgive my pronunciations. As he said, there was a Jewish
I don't know, man. I'm having technical issues. Sorry about that, y'all. Let me fix it. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? All right, hold up. Hold up, y'all. Very important video. Which one? Which one was it? Yeah, right here. Okay, hold up. Let me know when y'all can see it. Okay. All right. Let's get back to it. I'm gonna bag it up about 3 minutes.
Where they already had a relationship with the people there. You see, mainstream history wants us to believe that they went north through the Caucasus Mountains. But as we dig even more into history, we will see that this was not true for the majority. And from this historic account, we'll see that when people want to say that the Jews were not African, this part of the evidence will be the first part where people are able to understand why that claim of the Jews coming from Africa is actually correct. Mr. Slaus is just confirming that information. So people that deny that the Yahudim were in Africa are very clearly denying history. So let's take it from there. The first foundation of this lesson we will discuss will be the Hebrew Empire of what we know today as Ghana. The ancient Hebrew Empire of Ghana was established in the Western Sudan. According to Slouch on page 344, there was a Jewish tribe called Rechab. Now, please, as we're going through this, please forgive my pronunciations. There's a lot of different names. Please forgive my pronunciations. As he said, there was a Jewish tribe called Rechab, which crossed the Red Sea and migrated to the extreme point of the Western Sudan. He said at the same time that the Jews were migrating westward across the Sudan from Ethiopia, they also migrated southward from Libya, Tunisia, Algeria, and Morocco to the fertile regions between the Senegal and Niger rivers. When the Yahudim from the north and the east met between these two rivers, they established a confluence or crossroad in West Africa, where men could exchange their culture, ideas, and merchandise. These migrations of Yahudim went on with great frequency about 300 AD, and they continued with regularity for about 1200 years. In Joseph Williams' book, Hebrewisms of West Africa, on page 342, he has this map that points out the course of the Jewish migration from northeastern Africa. He writes that the Jews migrated up the Nile, passing Memphis, Elephantine, Khartoum, and they turned west at Kordofan in central Sudan. In the region of the White Nile, Williams believes some Jews settled in the country of Shaluk in the southern Sudan and Uganda. He continues by tracing the migration from Kordofan going west to Darfur, Lake Chad, Kano, and then to the countries of the Niger River. Now, I do not want to keep getting ahead of myself in reference to the time periods, but I want to bring back some connections. I mentioned earlier that the Europeans had maps of Africa that showed where the different people were. If you remember, I brought up Negroland. There were many different slave maps over the 18th and 19th century. So what I want to do real quick is review the route of which both historians documented the travels of the Yahudim making it to West Africa. And I want you to notice where Negroland is. Look at it. It's right there. I just want this connection to be made. Yah willing, we will get to elaborate on this later or in the next video. So let's continue. If you have ever heard of the Songhai Empire, which was an empire that dominated the Western Sudan in the 15th and 16th century, it replaced Mali as the most important empire in West Africa. Spelled like this, or like this. Anyways, before this empire in the 15th and 16th century, the original place of habitation of this people was called Gongoai, Kukia, or Kuka. Again, forgive my pronunciation. This place was situated in the Dendi country and also known as Dendina, lying near the Niger River on the northwestern border of what is now the modern state of Nigeria. I want you to remember this people because as we go through the history, we will be coming back to this group, but we have to start from an earlier period. Right here is Kuka, Iza el-Yemeni. He came to Kuka about 300 AD. He established a line of kings known as Za, Ja, or Dia dynasty. This founder of the first Sudanic dynasty in Western Africa was a Yahudim. He was a Hebrew. His name is sometimes written as Za el Ayaman. Za el Yemeni came to the Niger country by way of Ouargla in central Algeria today. It's written like this, Ouargla. Ouargla was a great trading center of the Yahudim. Professor Godbey said that Za, the founder of the first Yahudim dynasty, established his capital later at Gao on the eastern upper Niger River. Schlautz writes on page 344, the Arabs, Moors, and the Sudanic writers attribute to the ancient black African Hebrews the establishment of the first empires, the erection of the first public buildings in the country, the construction of the first canals and irrigation systems, and the institution of a social economic regime which still survives in all Saharan communities. As the Yahudim migrated into Western Africa, they took control over the indigenous tribes of the land, which eventually, as we get into history, is why they were easily targeted to be sold as slaves by these same tribes later. But let's not get ahead of history. According to Mr. Windsor, the Yahudim came into the Western Sudan from Northern and Eastern Africa as a result of a series of migrations due to persecution. As they migrated, they adopted new methods from other people and left their material, educational, and moral imprint among the people with whom they resided. For instance, like in America, who the population of the world simply called black people were African American, even in this oppressed land, though we have adopted many of their methods, we still have a moral imprint on the culture, and that's from a people who had no identity. These people knew who they were. For many centuries, the Hebrews had to use great physical and psychological initiative. They cannot afford to be complacent or show no concern about the surroundings and where they were. They were hated. So if they got too comfortable or complacent, that can mean cultural stagnation or death. The Yahudim imported into the western part of Africa a superior material, educational, and moral culture soon after 300 AD. And this cultural advancement was not duplicated or exceeded until the ascendancy of the Mohammedan leader Mansa Kakan Musa of Mali in 1312 AD. I'll get to him. In the 3rd and 4th centuries AD, the Africans on the West Coast did not possess the cultural superiority of the Africans that were on the North and East Coast. The Yahudim had an advantage over these African tribes because they carried their culture, their history, their laws, and written records with them. They were already organized. They were already a people. This assured them a constant precedent for the development of a higher social organization. Because of the stability of the Hebrew culture, the Yahudim were not absorbed into the indigenous population. They already came from laws that told them how to be and how to act, which none of the other nations had. They made use of every opportunity. They were an industrious and skillful people. From the Yahudim, Ghanaian states were found kings, princes, governors, generals, secretaries, treasurers, revenue agents, judges, architects, engineers, doctors, historians. The Black Hebrew kings of Ghana had 2 titles. All the kings of Ghana were called by the title Kayamaga, which is said to mean king of gold. Kumbi was the ancient capital of Ghana. It was located in the southern part of the present country of Mali. During the Middle Ages, the name Ghana as Ghana. Ghana was a title of its kings. Ghana means strong warrior king, war chief, and was the title accorded to the kings of the medieval Ghana Empire in West Africa. This empire was a Hebrew empire. When you really think about this, it really indicates the greatness and splendor of those kings, because even after the decline of the Za dynasty, which these men came from, they began to call this country after the title of its kings, which is Ghana. Let's keep going. The foundation of the Ghanaian Empire was based on the affluence of gold and iron. The use of iron in Africa, especially Ghana, revolutionized the social and military systems. Ghanaians fought many wars against their neighbors, who did not use iron, but fought with bars of ebony. The Ghanaians could destroy their enemies because they fought with lances and swords. The king's revenue agents levied taxes on imports and exports, and the medium of exchange was gold. This was the Za dynasty, and it held sway in West Africa for over 1,000 years. Now, going over more history of this dynasty, we're going to talk about Eldad the Danite, or Eldad Hadani. In the 9th century, this black African Hebrew arrived in the city of Kairouan in Algeria. He told a credible story of a Hebrew empire south of the Sahara in the western Sudan. According to Eldad, the Hebrews in the interior of Africa, Eldad said that the people of this tribe had fled from the kingdom of Yasharel after Sennacherib, the Syrian, had subdued it, and that other Israelite tribes such as Naphtali, Gad, and Asher were in the land from which he came. He told of the law of Moses, which they followed, the complete series of the scriptures except Esther and Lamentations. Eldad displayed as evidence some ceremony pertaining to the slaughtering of animals for food. It was written in Hebrew with an Arabic tint, but Eldad claimed that he knew no other language than Hebrew. In regard to Eldad's story, the Gaon, head of the Yahudim, assured the people that the story was credible. You can look this man up. Solomon Grazel writes of Eldad in his book on page 279 in the History of the Jews. This is not hidden from record. It's just not known in the mainstream. When I speak of the Yahudim being from Africa and taken during slavery, many people instantly argued with me because it went against the mainstream views. But the information is out here. You just have to seek it out for yourself and reduce the level of indoctrination you have been influenced by. For instance, this man, Mr. Schlouts, we are grateful for his travels and research. On page 345 of his book, he wrote, "For many years, the author of this book has been gathering material for a history of the Jewish migrations into the Sahara and the Sudan. One part of his work is already done, the establishing of the authenticity of these migrations. To the writing of the Arabs and the oral traditions of the country, he can now add the archaeological evidence furnished by the ruins of ancient Jewish cities in the Sahara and the Sudan, and the documentary evidence of Hebrew inscriptions like those of Tuat, which date from the 13th and 14th centuries." He basically explained that he was first trying to gather material for the history of the Yahudim migration into the Sahara and the Sudan. But as he did this research, he can now add archaeological evidence of the ancient cities of the Yahudim in the Sahara and the Sudan. So if you still try to doubt and speak against the validity of the fact that the Yahudim were in Africa and were dark-skinned people, you are now truly exposed as a denier due to racist ideals. I am providing you sources so you can do your own research and study and don't have to just depend on my words. So if you disagree, do your own research. I gave you the sources.
Oh, come on, man.
Supercharge your business
Yeah, but none of
with
that.
the all-new most powerful.
So let's go back to the history. It should now be an established fact that the
This is
ancient
why I
empire of
say,
Ghana.
Chris, your arms is too short to box with me intellectually. Your brain is too much of a P or a P brain to even get in the ring with me. You know, that little proper, hey guys, my name is Chris Harris. I'm intellectual, intelligentsia and all that. That don't work with me, bro. You're nothing but a clout chaser. Just like, man, like I said, that show yesterday, that was Jabari's show. But you just had to stick your little head in there and be a part of it and try to steal the shine from. He don't need your help for no goddamn Chief X. Chief X is an idiot. A fifth grader can beat, well, maybe not Sarnetta, but a fifth grader, any other fifth grader besides Sarnetta, can beat Chief X. Talking about the ancient Egyptians wasn't black or the Israelites wasn't black. He's an idiot. But here come Chris, clout chasing Harris. They want to get in the goddamn way and stick his nose in. But now he made a video this morning talking about somebody running. You been running. How a runner gonna call another runner a runner? Make it make sense. Like I said, Chris, I'm putting my information out there. I dare you to try to come refute it. You won't be able to. So sit your ass down.
Ghana was a black Hebrew empire known as the Zah dynasty of Ghana, the Zah dynasty of warrior chiefs. This empire was right here. So let's speak more about this dynasty. Rudolph Windsor explains the 15th Zah prince took control of the great city of Gao on the upper Niger in 1009 AD. His name was Zah Kasi or Kosi.
Now, 1009 AD, Chris, you said that there was no Israelites in Africa until 1492, until the Spanish and Portugal came into Africa to convert them. They weren't even converting people to Israel, to Hebrew Israelite doctrine or spiritual beliefs. They were killing Israelites. It was called auto-de-phase because they didn't want to become a Catholic. And you want to run around here and say that the Spanish and Portugal is the one that converted Israelites? You make no damn sense, bro. But you talk all this African stuff, and I'm giving you Africa. What, Israelites not part of Africa? We wasn't there? Because you hate Israel so much? You about to slow a Sarnetta, man. This ain't personal. This is goddamn business.
Now, it's important to note up to this time that all the kings of Ghana professed the Hebrew religion. But in this year, a radical transformation occurred. It's a big one. Zah Kasi accepted Islam.
You see, before that, they accepted Israelite faith. And then around this time, this is where they converted to Islam.
The Tariq al-Fatash is a West African chronicle written in Arabic in the second half of the 17th century. It provides an account of the Songhai Empire from the reign of Soni Ali. If you remember, I referenced them earlier. But in this document, he speaks of why...
I'm not ready for this type of information, ladies and gentlemen.
Why the king of Songhai, Ghana, was persuaded to convert to Islam by the merchants of the city of Gao, who already had become wealthy and economically powered. Much of Ghana's trade was maintained with the Muslims of the north. As the history progressed and Islam continued to spread, the North Africans became strong Mohammedans, and economics and religion were co-partners, operating concertedly in the city of Gao. The Muslims were dominating Ghana's vital trade links in North Africa and the Sahara, and it was good for Ghana's security to be recognized as having a Mohammedan king. In his book, Africa, History of a Continent, when concerning Islam, Basil Davidson makes the point: Islam reaches the markets of the Western Sudan by at least the 9th century, but it makes little initial impact. The rulers of Ghana do not accept Islam as one of their state religions. Only at the beginning of the 11th century are there few such conversions, the earliest of any importance of which we know being that of the king of Gao, traditionally in 1010, followed by that of the king Kanem-Bornu in 1086. Davidson says, these are tactical conversions. These kings are Muslims only in name, motivated as much by the commercial convenience as by appreciation of the political and religious achievements and teaching of Islam. And this is very similar to what the Marranos did in Spain before the Inquisition. These people conformed in order to make life easier for themselves. And we know through history what happens when they did that. In spite of the fact that the kings of Ghana professed Islam, many of the inhabitants remained Jews, Yahudim. Al-Bakri, from 1040 to 1094 AD, was an Arab historian and a geographer of the Muslim West. He wrote about Europe, North Africa, and the Arabian Peninsula. Only 2 of his works have survived. His most important work is his Kitab al-Masalik wal al-Mamalik, Book of Highways and of Kingdoms. If I butchered that, please forgive me. This was composed in 1068 AD, based on literature and the reports of merchants and travelers, including Muhammad Yusuf al-Rawraq, 904 to 960.
Chris, I'm putting this information out there for you. You won't be able to refute none of this. You already been beat when you said 1492 and some goddamn Spanish and Portugal, some Europeans from Spain and Portugal converted them to be goddamn rabbis and all this type of nonsense, bro. They converted them to be Jewish people. I mean, bro, what are you doing? Look at all these sources and references that we got here right on this goddamn screen. Way before your 1492. Oh, man. Update your information.
73 AD, and Abraham ben Jacob. It is one of the most important sources for the history of West Africa and gives crucial information on the Ghana Empire, the Almoravid dynasty, and the trans-Saharan trade. The king of Ghana in his day was Tenkamenen, who came to throne 1062 AD. Al-Bakri says the king of Ghana, Tenkamenen, was the ruler of a great empire, and he was able to organize an army of 200,000 men. In the 11th century, a Mohammedan people from the northwest invaded the city of Al-Aldagast within the Empire of Ghana. These invaders were also called the Almoravids. By the year 1076 AD, Abu Bakr, the leader of the Almoravids, captured the capital of Ghana. However, the Islamic Hebrew king was allowed to maintain his throne. Tenkamenen paid tribute to Abu Bakr. And at this time in history, Gao, or Gako, known as the capital of Ghana, was separated into two cities. The first city had the residence of the king. This city contained a fortress which was surrounded by a wall. The second city contained 12 mosques in which the Mohammedan merchants could settle or wait until they transacted their business. This description given by al-Bakri leaves us with the impression that the city of the king's residence was probably inhabited mainly by Yahudim, because there was a great distinction between the king's residence and the residence of the Mohammedans. In the city of Gao, the Islamic religion was influential, but only a Muslim could be king. When a new king ascended the throne, 3 royal imperial emblems constituting the Quran, a sword, and a ring were received by the king. What I am saying here is that from the early 11th century, the Hebrew kingdom of Ghana was no longer known to be a Hebrew Yahudim kingdom, but an Islamic kingdom, and regardless of whether the conversions were true or not, history has shown that once this happens, the people begin to lose their identity. Again, this history is very similar to that of the Marranos in Spain. Once they assimilated, they were defeated. And this brings us to Mansa Musa and the Empire of Mali. The Empire of Mali is also called the Melestine Empire. The rulers and people of the Empire of Mali were Black Africans of the Mandingo tribe. This tribe was originally situated in the territory known today as Guinea Sierra Leone and northward. On the banks of the Upper Niger near the present-day Sierra Leone, the Mandingos established their capital at a place called Niani. Let me be clear, this was not a Hebrew empire. That's not where I'm going. These were Hamites. After the breakup of the Ghanaian Empire by invasions from many tribes, like we just talked about, Ghana split apart into a number of states. But in the capital of Ghana, Gao, the Hebrew Zah kings continued to reign. During this time, many people who were subject and service to Ghana proclaimed their independence from them after the chaos set in. The most celebrated and known of these people were the Mandingos, who established the nucleus of a new empire about the middle of the 13th century, 1240 AD. The Mandingos were a successful agricultural people. They were blessed with the ability of rivers, which they used for irrigation. They grew rice and other staples, which contributed to a rapidly growing population. So let's talk about them real quick. The king of Mali, who was rendered credit for the establishment and organization of an imperial system in Mali, was Sundiata. Sundiata knew that power was contingent on wealth. Most of the wealth was in trade, and most of the trade was in the hands of Muslims. Consequently, he converted to Islam. Almost 100 years after the death of Sundiata, a powerful king emerged in Mali. His name was Mansa Musa. During his lifetime, 1312 to 1337, his accomplishments transcended his predecessors. His empire extended from east to west, beginning at the Atlantic Ocean to northern modern Nigeria, and from north to south, reaching almost from central Mauritania and extending to the borders of modern Guinea and the Ivory Coast. In 1326 AD, Mansa Musa made pilgrimage to Mecca. We know the holy city of the Mohammedans. It is said that he exhibited a marvelous splendor that astonished the spectators. He arrived in the east with thousands of foot soldiers and over 60,000 mounted warriors. In addition to his soldiers, he had 500 slaves, each carrying a rod of gold weighing 6 pounds. As contributing to the holy cities, he gave 20,000 pieces of gold. Mansa Musa is not only remembered for his pilgrimage, trade, and military accomplishments, but also for his public constructions. The king of Mali built a palace and several mosques in the celebrated city of Timbuktu. He was known as a champion of Islamic religion and learning. You see, for me, I have always heard stories about the power and wealth of Mansa Musa. But as I review this history, he has nothing to do with my family tree or history. And that's why I bring him up in this history. Though he was a very powerful, wealthy king, he has nothing to do with the Hebrews. And just because he was a black king that the establishment likes to allow us to know of, it does not mean that he has anything to do with the history of the Hebrews besides conquering them. They only let us celebrate those who have conquered us. When Mansa Musa was on his pilgrimage, his general of Mali took control of Gao, again the capital of Ghana. Then Mansa Musa returned from Arabia by way of Gao and accepted the surrender of the king of Ghana and his nobles. Among these prisoners were Ali Kulon, and his brothers Somarnar, the sons of Za Yasebi. These Hebrew princes were appointed as pages at the court of Mali about 1335 AD. It was not too long before the prince.
Chris Harris, that's 1335. You said there was no Israelites in Africa until after 1492 when the Spanish and Portuguese came somehow through Africa, this white man or whoever, and went all throughout Africa and converted them to be Jewish? Rabbinical Jews? You make no sense. When they were killing Israelites in Spain, called the Auto de Fe, the Spanish Inquisition, the what's that other word they got? I forget right now, but that's what they were doing. And then when they got kicked out of Spain, they went to Portugal. And then when they got kicked out of Portugal, they migrated to Africa. And a lot of them took the kids and made them slaves over in San Tome. Took them over there to islands in West Africa. So I don't know what the hell you're talking about. This is why you always run your mouth, and then when it's time to get the goddamn ring, you run your goddamn feet. This is what Chris Harris do. You got the nerd over there talking about some goddamn Chief X running. You accepted a debate with me 2 or 3 weeks ago, and on your channel. And then when we got behind the scenes, when I called something to set it up, that's when me and him was still doing business. I got a witness because the power was on the phone. You cried tomorrow. My channel. You call my channel echo chamber and all this old mess anyway to get after the debate. Like I say, man, you're a joke.
Of the Za dynasty escaped from the court and army of Mali. They then organized an army and fought the king of Mali. Ali Kulon entertained a profound hatred against the Mali conquerors because they had subjugated his people. In the latter parts of the 14th century, the army of Ali Kulon, later called Soni, the liberator Ali, made attacks on Niani, the capital of Mali. Yearning for independence, Soni Ali desisted in paying tribute to Mali. Because of the exploits of Soni Ali, the Za dynasty of Gao acquired a new name or title. The dynasty after Soni Ali is called Soni or Shi dynasty. There are about 17 or 18 Islamic Hebrew kings in this dynasty, the Soni or Songhai dynasty. And this brings me back to where I first started when I brought up the Songhai Empire. If you remember, much earlier on, I was explaining the Kuka, the location of which Za el-Yemeni found the Za dynasty. I said the Songhai Empire was an empire that dominated the Western Sudan in the 15th and 16th century. It replaced Mali as the most important empire in West Africa. This empire was a Hebrew empire of the Yahudim that had history from the 4th century to now where we are at in this history to the 15th and the 16th century. The Songhai were Hebrews. And I went through all that history to make that all make sense and bring it all together. Let's bring it back full circle. As we see this map of the late Songhai Empire, please also refer back to the map.
Like I said, Chris Harris, Reggie, Frankie, none of y'all is ready for this type of information. It don't even register in the little pea brains of yours. Or they call it cognitive dissonance. You don't want to accept the truth. You don't want to accept the facts. We could keep bringing these references, these sources right in front of these people, and they still would deny the fact because they have an agenda. Our people are more Israelites than they is some goddamn Egyptians. Y'all over there fighting over Egyptian nonsense. You don't even teach out of the Book of the Dead, so I don't even understand what's the connection. You don't even teach about an afterlife. You teach none of that. All you worry about is the fancy goddamn pyramids and the gold chains and all that type of mess. That's all they worried about. That's why they gravitate to it. Look, we built the pyramids and all this old stuff. Show your Egyptian and your Kemetic connection to the people. We showing ours. We showing our connection. What the hell you think Negro land is? Dude, slow, man. They got an agenda, man. I'm trying to tell you, man.
Of Negro land, where the Negroes who were taken as slaves
right on cue, Negro land, like I said.
Atlantic slave trade come from. Notice the area on both maps are the same. This is more proof through history that the Negroes taken in the transatlantic slave trade descend from the Hebrews. In the year 1464, the 16th Tsar Prince Soni Ali took the leadership of Gao and began to build a new empire. Soni Ali attacked many of the neighboring tribes, including the city of Timbuktu, and brought them under his dominance. In almost every way, Songhai was a greater empire than Mali. Soni Ali systemized various schemes of organization and administration unknown by his predecessors. He appointed governors over his territories and organized a standing professional army consisting of echelon, including a navy on the Niger. The Songhai Empire seems to have begun with Soni Ali I. This was the time of the decline of the Empire of Mali in the year 1350 AD. And the fall of the Za Soni dynasty happened at the time of the rise of the Askian dynasty. According to Professor Godby, the Za Soni dynasty of the Black Hebrew kings was terminated about the year 1492 AD. And there's that year again. We're going to stop at this point of time in history because there's much more to discuss, and I do not want to overwhelm you with all this information. Though in a video like this, I'm sure I probably already did. But let me just restate this and make sure it's above and beyond clear. The people who are known as Negroes, who were sent as slaves to the Americas and the Caribbean, these Negroes come from Negroland, which is a division of people placed on the European.
And then you got these clowns like Black Lion Supreme and Rob Bourne. So many Israelites that was on the slave ship, and this goddamn Sean from Mossy tribe. Man, you guys are idiots. True story. He one of the dumbest. He called himself a historian, but he denied the fact of this information here. No, you're a compromised historian. You're a selective researcher as historian, true story. You're an idiot. And all these clowns over here like Sabio and Devin over there on Q Butter's channel, y'all dragging that man channel down, man. At least we over here bringing out information and facts and sources and references and scholars. All I hear every time I pop in over there is Sambo's goddamn lip crying about the Bible. Yeah, we need science, technology, engineering, mathematics. Then he can't even answer a basic math question. I asked him how many 16ths is in an inch. 8. You know what I'm saying? Then he asked him a science question. Give me the different sciences. He can't name none of that. That's not his forte, he says. Where do you think atheism come from? It don't come from the goddamn Africa. How many tribes? You can't give me 5 tribes. I'm telling you, man, these people in the community are a joke, bro. A joke.
Slave maps from the 17th to 19th centuries. This land of Negroland consisted of the people who come from the Songhai dynasty.
Right. I get everybody that's melanated is not Negro. I understand that, Marquise. We're not saying that everybody that came on them ships was an Israelite. We're not saying that. But they don't even want to acknowledge us at all. And here go all this history right here, right in their goddamn face, and they still want to deny it. Chris Harris, I dare you to make a video refuting anything that I presented in this video. You can't. So you better go chase Chief X. You better go chase guys like that because you don't want no smoke over here. It's already been proven. I got like 4 or 5 videos where you accept the debate, and it was time to get in there, you run, you make up an excuse. You know, that's what you do. Now you want to try to steal Jabari shine from yesterday. He don't need your goddamn help to beat Chief X on if we were black over there or not. Chief X is an agent of confusion. I'm not saying he worked for the government. He's an agent of confusion, kind of like you. Kind of like the whole House of Conscience that go against the Israelites. We bring y'all facts, sources, references, scholars. And you still deny it. You still want to lie. Prove to y'all, show us some Israelites, show us some goddamn Egyptians migrating to the west coast of Africa, and then they got on the ships. Show us that. Please do. We waiting. Like I said, we got more goddamn facts and sources and references than y'all to tie ourselves to these people. Y'all ain't no goddamn Egyptians. You can't even go over there and say you're Egyptian. They kicked Kevin Hart out. Where was y'all at protesting against that? At least when Kyrie got into it with the people and it was supporting the book, Dante Force's book, we showed up. The whole world was in an uproar when somebody like a Kyrie say something like that. They don't give a damn if y'all out here talking about y'all Kemet. They don't give a damn.
The people of Hebrew heritage who started from Soni Ali, the king, who was, of course, of Hebrew descent. The Songhai dynasty took over the Mali dynasty, which came before them. The Mali Empire came into power after taking power from the Empire of Ghana, also known as the Za dynasty. This empire of warrior chiefs was an empire of Hebrew kings that had rule over West Africa from the 4th century AD to the 14th century when the Empire of Mali took control. The most known king of the Empire of Mali was Mansa Musa. The Empire of Ghana was a Hebrew kingdom, and it consisted of the migrants who fled from Jerusalem from 70 AD when Rome burned the temple. Because of accounts like from Eldad the Danite, there are also indications that other descendants of the 10 tribes of Yasharel who were taken by the Assyrians also assimilated amongst them over time. This video is a historical account of the Hebrews who broke covenant with the Most High Yahuwah. They had to flee from their land, and they were scattered abroad into West Africa and established themselves without the power of the Most High, until it was their time again to flee and be scattered, after the rest of the New World was found. So be clear, the Negroes are Hebrews, and you have been given historic account to this fact. If you are a Negro, you are Hebrew, and it is time to turn back to the Most High Yahuwah before the world comes into judgment.
Powerful information, man. Power.
Are you tired of dealing
we ain't
with
doing
worn-out
this.
windows that don't seal?
We don't give a damn about
leak,
none of that.
or are hard to
We're
open?
over.
Maybe you've even tried to
It's
get
still getting, air's still coming in there.
The point of this is providing historic understanding of things that our mainstream education system does not provide. If you understand the history of the Hebrews, because of the curses, they can never settle and they are always hated. Anytime they get complacent, they get conquered and are forced to move. This is an overall pattern to their history, and it is biblical, and it confirms scripture. Anytime anyone wants to understand why I believe in the Bible so much, I can say from an actual historic understanding that the true history of the world validates the scriptures, and the lies that are told and the cover-ups and the hijackings that have been done in order to make me not believe in the scripture, it also validates the scriptures. Judah has gone into captivity, under affliction and hard servitude. She dwells among the nations. She finds no rest. All her persecutors overtake her in dire straits. Lamentations chapter 1, verse 3. When you know the real history, you cannot deny the validity of the scriptures.
Right.
So this is absolutely one reason why Satan has hidden the understanding of history and who actually fits in these roles of biblical understanding. Because if you can be caught in confusion, you can be steered by him and not by Yah. In this Understanding Israel series, we have gone through this history in order for you, the viewer, to have a concrete understanding of who Yasharel is and understand how this all correlates with end times Bible prophecy. Yah chose this people of Yasharel as his people, and he desired to guide them and raise them up as priests and a holy nation. But they were disobedient to him and followed after other gods until they were cursed. We are now in the age of grace, where all nations can be grafted into Yasharel and be accepted by Yah because of our Messiah, Yahusha. And we have gone through a great deal of spiritual blindness in this world in order for Bible prophecy to be fulfilled. But the time of blindness is no more, and Yah is drawing us back to him and providing us with understanding and truth. It is up to each of us to seek him with our hearts right in him and abiding in his word, while rejecting the lies and the provoking of our flesh. This world is changing and things are about to get a lot worse. The goal of this ministry is to empower people with the truth so that you can walk in these last days with power from the conviction of the truth. This is not a racial topic. This is a topic about the history of a people that were chosen by Yah to be holders of a covenant, and in the last days, he promised to restore them. This is spoken of multiple times by the prophets, but I will make sure that I repeat it in this video. For time's sake, I will read it from Isaiah chapter 43, verses 1 through 6. But now, thus says Yahuwah, who created you, O Jacob, and he who formed you, O Yasharel. Fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by your name. You are mine. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. And through the rivers, it shall not overflow you. When you nor shall the of Yasharel, your savior. I gave Egypt for your ransom, Ethiopia and Seba in your place. Since you are
Hold on, y'all. It's about to go off. Hold up. That's all right. Hold up. Hold up. You gotta see this last part. Hold up. I messed up. Hold up. Yeah, man. But like I said, Christian, he ain't gonna come over here. He's a coward. He gonna stay in his little fishbowl. He's a coward. He wants to chase up behind Chief X. I mean, anybody could beat Chief X. You got the nerve to call. How do a runner call another runner? How do a runner call somebody else a runner? That's what I don't get. That's what I don't understand, y'all. But hold up, let me show y'all this last part. Just go for you too, Judah Nazareth, because you deny Israelites in Africa. We know that. You deny it all the time. You put Mexicans and Guatemalans, you ain't no different than Captain Zara. I mean, this ain't banging on you. This just pointing out the obvious, bro. You sit up there and let them goddamn Hispanics come over there and call us niggas and Canaanite dogs. This Jeremiah and the rest of these goddamn, I ain't gonna be racist, but I'm just saying, bro. You got to tighten your game up. Tighten your game up, bro. Come on, man. Tazariak is an idiot. Stinky, filthy Africans. So, I mean, our people didn't come from over there. They weren't over there. They didn't come from the north, the door no return. We didn't amalgamate with some of the tribes over there. We didn't put no history down over there, you idiot. But you got Katazar over there calling us niggas. And he say nigga more than you. This is the type of cancer in the community that we got to get rid of. The Chris Harrises, the Tazariaks, the people who are compromised. You know who you are. Who are compromised just for clout. Who won't stand up when your team is getting dogged out. These are the type of people we got to get rid of. These are the type of people. The Garfields. You see what I'm saying? The true historians and these Sabios. These are the type of people. Because even when you hit them with the facts and hit them with the history, they still deny it. Because they have an agenda. Yeah, him too, man. If he want to rock like that, I ain't banging on him. But yeah, even the Judah Nazareth. Sorry, man. I mean, I ain't banging on you, bro. I'm just stating the obvious, bro. Yo, they're booty popping for goddamn Frankie. That's what you're doing. Booty popping for Sarnetta. Come on, man. Cut that shit out. Cut that shit out, bro. You sit there and let him come on there, supposed to be an Israelite platform. You sit there and let him come on there and talk about me like a goddamn dog. And I ain't supposed to say nothing. Yeah, make it clap. You know what I'm saying? Clap on, clap off the clapper. I mean, come on, man. What the hell's going on, man? What the hell's going on? What the fuck going on, man? You over there choosing the goddamn person who hates your God, who hates your Bible, and let them just come and overtalk me. Oh, let Sarnetta and DePaul speak. They ain't got our best interests at heart. They ain't got our best interests. They ain't got our best interests. The next week you'll be over there talking about it's a pedophile channel. Killer B, you're right. I mean, come on. Man, what the hell's going on? Yeah, man. So I hope y'all enjoyed the video, man. And like I said, Chris Harris, you got 24 hours to respond, or we're gonna know you still a runner. We know you still running. But let me hold on. I want y'all to hear the last part of this because it was very important. Yeah, the last part. Yeah, hope y'all can see it. Let me know y'all can see it. Oh yeah, it's still like 4 minutes left. Yeah. Okay, hold up, y'all. Okay. Yeah, all right. Yeah, they be too hypocritical and way too unwise, man. I'm not gonna be compromised. I don't. When I go somewhere, I don't kiss his ass. I go over there to battle his debaters. I check him if he wrong or he saying something stupid. I'm not. And then, like I said, we caught him cheating. Are we supposed to just give him a pass? No, that ain't how it go. But I'm gonna beat you with your information, son. I ain't got to stoop down to your level with all the ad homs and and all the other stuff that you do, because you can't beat me this way. Your best battles is with ad homs and all that type of stuff. You're not smart enough to go research and find anything to support. You support Kemet and defend the Book of the Dead, Frankie. I'm calling you out too. Chris Harris, defend the Book of the Dead. I'm calling you out. Jabari, Shaka, Reggie. Smash Rockwell. Smash Rockwell the other day said the Book of Dead ain't nothing but a bunch of mumbo jumbo with spells. They got a scorpion spell. You go ahead and step in a goddamn area with a whole bunch of scorpions and say your spell and see if your ass still don't get bit.
Shall not overflow you. When you walk through the fire, you shall not be burned, nor shall the flame scorch you. For I am Yahuwah your Elohim, the Holy One of Yasharel, your Savior. I gave Egypt for your ransom, Ethiopia and Seba in your place. Since you are precious in my sight, you have been honored, and I have loved you. Therefore, I will give men for you, and people for your life. Fear not, for I am with you. I will bring your descendants from the east and gather you from the west. I will say to the north, give them up, and to the south, do not keep them back. Bring my sons from afar and my daughters from the ends of the earth. Hallelujah. I have gone through this history to academically show you more evidence of the scattering, and it is quite different than what the mainstream has tried to convince us of.
Right.
We must live in the truth, and it is important that these things become exposed now, because the lie is becoming stronger and people are being more attached to the strong delusion. As it is prophesied, the coming of the lawless one is according to the working of Satan, with all power, signs, and lying wonders, and with all unrighteous deception among those who perish, because they did not receive the love of the truth that they might be saved. And for this reason, Elohim will send them strong delusion, that they should believe the lie, that they all may be condemned who do not believe the truth, but have pleasure in unrighteousness. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verses 9 through 12. Listen, the world, they can believe whatever they want. We can see where all these lies are leading us to. It's leading right to the forming of a one-world religion, leading to the rebuilding of a temple for all faiths, and leading to the coming of the lawless one who we know as the Antichrist. It is up for each of us to live in the truth and stay out of the strong delusion. For many, if you just applied Yah's word and reviewed who the curses of Deuteronomy chapter 28 best apply to, then this amount of history would not be needed, because you are applying the word along with the sermon. Based on the curses that he has said, they shall be upon you for a sign and a wonder, and on your descendants forever. That's Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 46. Based on these curses that he said would be a sign, Looking for this sign and wonder would be easy to apply if we just looked at history, ongoing history to this day.
You know we've been fighting 400 and still fighting to this day. To this day. To this day.
There's so many different curses. And so for anyone looking for this sign and wonder, this should be easy to apply. But for others who are not so sure, they might need more. This information is being provided for you to be assured, and sources are clearly documented. So please read these books for yourself if you want to challenge. But at the end of the day, you have been provided the history in order for truth to set you free and help you be assured of the side you are on and what you need to avoid as these events begin to transpire. At the end of the day, be assured. If you believe in Yahusha and live your life in accordance, so keep your trust in Yah and keep your faith in Yahusha. And be a set-apart one who is ready for Yah's kingdom. Because please understand, our redemption, the fulfillment of our promises, are right ahead.
Bless.
Yeah. Praise.
Right. Hey, yeah, man. Hey, I've been beating up on Chris, bro. This ain't nothing new. Chris want to try to call out easy targets. You see what I'm saying? He don't want to get in the ring with a lion. You see what I'm saying? He a butterfly. You see what I'm saying? You know, I don't know if the video is AI or not, but if it is AI, it's still bringing out good information. You go watch the whole beginning of this whole show. The video, the information I brought out earlier ain't got nothing to do with no goddamn AI. It's got to do with my research and it ties in with a lot of stuff what I was saying. So even if it's AI generated, it's still bringing out truths. You see? Like I said, Chris Harris, man, don't you ever run up on me, bro. You're not gonna last long. Go stay chasing after Chief X. You know, all y'all over there talking about some Kemet shit. You don't even deal with your Book of the Dead. You see, it's a waste of time, man. Kemet is dead. Nobody get mad at it. The world don't get mad if Kyrie Irving come out and say, I'm from Egypt. Don't nobody give a damn about that. But the minute he say he Israel, now it's a problem. All right, let's go ahead and get up out of here. Y'all tomorrow. Hey, like I say, stay tuned for the Universal Debate League. That is a combination of, hold up. Wait a minute. Skip this. All right, hold up. I don't got Big Moochie Great. What the hell going on? Mayor Neil, but okay, we might not have to get up here because I can't find it. Let me see. Let me see if I back it up. Big Moochie Great. I like Big Moochie Great, but this ain't the time for Big Moochie. All right. But yeah, man. What was it? Big Moochie made me lose my chain of thought. Yeah, like I say, man, it is a confederate against us. We see it on all these other platforms. Instead of y'all teaching what y'all believe in, y'all cry about us. Damn near 80% of your time you're on air. So now you can't go a whole week without talking about Israel, or trying to put two Israelites up against each other, or somebody that believe in the Bible against the Israelite. Why? Finally, you did something yesterday with Kemet. Keep doing that. But y'all still got to prove that y'all Kemet. Y'all still got to prove to show the migration of the Egyptians coming this way and getting getting sold at the door of no return. You can't show the Egyptian dynasties and kingdoms over on West Africa. You can't. Why is it always the most light-skinned is one that want to be the most African? I'm talking about Chris Harris. He act like he goddamn Shaka Zulu goddamn color somewhere. Bros, you need to be teaching your European history, bro. That's what you need to be doing. That's what you need to be doing. You see? Yeah, Chris Harris, man, like I say, bro, you can talk all that fancy talk and hey guys, my name is Chris Harris, and nobody care about you talking like that. I'm from Intelligentsia and all that. Man, nobody care about that, bro. It's about the information. It's about the information. So, like I said, we finna get up out of here, man. Stay tuned for the Universal Debate League. coming soon. That is SVDL, Lions Den, LDRR Project, Black Jesus Ministry, Ultimate Debate League, Apostles of Quan, and FOPE. If you want a fair debate, you don't want everybody all in your goddamn video, muting you and putting you in the background and jumping in the middle of your round, trying to put his bias and his opinion on the debate, then come to us. Or if you like that type of thing, then you stay over there over Sarnetta TV. Because that's what he do. It's been proven. I've been experimenting that every debate that y'all see me in that I'm done over there. I keep giving them chances. He gets in my debates at the end of them because I done whooped his people's ass. Nepal, goddamn it, Judah Nazareth, Tazariak, Polite, any of them. Sebastian, any of them. That's what he do. If I'm having an engagement with Jabari, he gonna get in the way. Shaka, he gets in the way. Beat up his master, goddamn King Sodomite teacher the other day. I showed y'all that. Khalil Diddy Amani. Sodomite gets in the way. How you gonna get mad and you say that's your master teacher? Then when I repeat it, it's a problem. Yeah, man, ain't nobody banging on you. Ain't nobody taking this personal. This business, bro. There's a difference between personal and business. What I'm over here talking to you about is business and how you run yours and how you don't run it right. With that being said, man, like I said, stay tuned for the Universal Debate League. We got a tournament coming up. You know, we got a tournament coming up. We're going to get either 16 or 32 debaters. And like I said, once somebody go live on our platform, it'll be simultaneously streamed on all of our platforms. That way, every 67 platforms going to see y'all. You see what I'm saying? Y'all see me host a debate before. I don't get in the way. I didn't agree with Owashby. I don't agree with Old Testament only people, but I stay out the way. That's what you're supposed to do, Frankie. Then, like I said, we caught you cheating. You goddamn right I'm going to keep bringing it up. You goddamn right. We caught you cheating, changing the polls. You goddamn right I'm going to keep bringing it up. Show the people what we dealing with and what, you claim you changed. You ain't changed. You still the same old fucking Frankie. That being said, let's get up out of here.
I want you and that young man to tie that knot. I'm going to pray for you. And I want you to hold on to God's unchanging hand because he helped Joshua fight the battle of Jericho. Oh, yes.
It's the old Daniel get out the line.
He helped get off the island.
Let me get straight to the business. Yeah. Got them lines in the building. Yeah. Why you lying to the children? Yeah. Why you lying to the children? Yeah. RIGHTEOUS. Man, you know I've been the best. Man, they know contest. Yahoo, he do the bless. We will not see you tomorrow. Cause you cannot go to Thought. All the sons and all the daughters. Standing all with big manotas. But my son, he made me Taurus. On that line, I'm still a Taurus. Karate kicking Chuck Norris, 4-5 on my waist. If he started, would not hesitate to get retarded. Oh Lord, he ain't got a PowerPoint, he farted. He's running to the hills like a Philistine. G-Hawk hitting Hamites with the guillotine. Situation turned up with the ratchet team. JJ7000 to debate me. I know them haters gon' hate me, but he won't debate me. Pistol off safety. He respond, come wake me. If I don't get up, nigga shake me. Really give me if he don't show up, then he fake G. I touch down and make these nigga nuts hate me. Dear brother. Balling and crawling all the way from H-Time. Let me get straight to the business. Man, them lions in the building. Why you lying to them cheering? Why you lying to them children? You gon' cry, you gon' get it. Me, I'm like a frog, nigga, ribbit. Of course, it's in the spirit. I just got the Porsche, she can steer it. Michael got the raw shack and with it. Lamborghini doors, you better not spill it. Mama's high, say I'm more than just a villain. Mama's cry, arms open wide for her children. Suicide, immortalized as a village, yeah. Death by kind, black suicide. Let me get straight to the business. Got them lions in the building. Why you lying to them children? Yeah. Why you lying to them children? Yeah. RIGHTEOUS. Yeah. Man, you know I've been there. Yeah. Man, they know they no contest. Yeah. Yahoo, yeah. Wow, what's that? Why ain't they taking over? Number one debate league, you heard me? When it's up, it's stuck. I'm selling all everything, nigga.
Yeah.
Metaphorically, of course.
Lions in the building. It's okay. The rest of the enemies, get out your feelings. We ain't going nowhere. That's right. Peace and blessings. We out. We out. I hope I gave y'all some spiritual food to deal with, to help y'all to go against these pseudos, like I said. And y'all see that video? Our debate league over here is one that started with the belts. Now sign that on there. Yeah, we're going to have belts and 3 champions. Shut up. But imitation is flat. Yeah. Peace and blessings. They'll never be the same.